Taken from a small game viewer vehicle on the opposite side of a watering hole with a digital camcorder, the video begins with a herd of African buffaloes approaching the water, unaware that a small group of lionesses are laying nearby.
That is a huge buffalo. It's a huge buffalo. They're crouching.
She's quite big.
Uh-oh. What's the bull gonna do?
The lioness crouches as the herd nears. It is uncertain if the lioness attacks first, or if the buffalo becomes startled and turns to run. But the buffaloes flee and the lions charge and disperse the herd, with the lioness picking up a buffalo calf, both of them falling into the water.
She's going for him. She got him. Oh, she did. She got him.
These gullies just dropped a buffalo here. Oh my God. God, did you see that? Yeah. Oh my God. Unbelievable. Girls, I'm shaking. Can you believe this? The buffalo coming to help this one. Now watch.
They're too late.
Come and help this baby. Watch.
They're too late. Can they help him now, Frank?
Yeah, they can.
He's still alive, you think?
No, they're still alive.
My goodness.
Russell for Frank.
They're trying to drag him out. They're dragging him out.
Hulle nou net 'n kleintjie gevang. Hier's lekker action hier so jong. Hulle het 'n kleintjie hier so in die water en die trop is besig om nader te kom.
It's on its back. I have to kill it quickly. It's so
Ja, positief. Hulle het 'n klein buffeltjie gevang hier so.
There's a crocodile there too.
Ja, daar's 'n krokodil ook. Daar kyk 'n krokodil ook die kleintjie.
The
Yes.
crocodile.
Yeah.
Coming out big guy.
Check through the bananas. The croc's trying to grab the baby.
Yes.
Look at this.
As the lions try to drag the buffalo out of the water, the calf is grabbed by a crocodile who fights for it in a brief tug of war before giving up and leaving it to the lions.
Jeez, I'm shaking.
Oh, look at those dogs.
The lions have won.
The lions have won?
Oh, the lions have won.
Give a look at all those buffalo coming.
The lions lay down and prepared to feast, but the buffalo herd approached and surrounded the lions.
But I think they're too late.
I think you're right. They're way too late now. They're gonna chase him.
No, they're too late. You realize it?
Oh, look at the teeth. Look at the teeth, Jay. You're too late.
Yes.
You're too late.
Guys, you cannot believe what's going on here. There's a big barrier between lions, crocodiles, and buffaloes.
Whoa! He swatted at him and kicked at him. He's kicking at him. Look, he's kicking at him.
Ja, julle ouens, julle moet sien wat die aangaan. Die buffels is besig om die leeu's te omsingel en so. Want die leeu's het 'n klein jatte gevang. Die jatties wil die leeu's nou bykom. Hulle jag die leeu's links en regs.
Ooh, they got him surrounded.
One of the lions is tossed into the air by a charging buffalo and chased away. The remaining lions are subsequently scattered one by one after the initial engagement. The baby buffalo escapes into the herd, while the lions remain surrounded by the buffaloes. The buffaloes then proceed to aggressively drive the remaining lions away. This next video comes in HD and it was released 11 years after the Battle of Kruger in the documentary Planet Earth 2. It is hands down the greatest animal chasing in history. The shot begins with a baby iguana being approached by a snake. Still new to its surroundings but instinctively aware of its natural predator, it lays still for a few seconds hoping to not draw attention. It waits until the last second, managing to slither away from the first attacker. The race continues before another one of these snakes gets a partial hold on its reptile cousin. What ensues is an adrenaline-fueled representation of what science books tells us is fight or flight. It is hard to believe this wasn't taken from an action movie. We now go to the Antarctic Peninsula. Following the BBC and a wildlife documentary, their goal was to try and record an event only previously described through old expedition journals. Killer whales working together as a team, creating waves to knock seals off of floating sheets of ice. The team set off on their boat called the Golden Fleece, crossing Drake's Passage through a duration of 4 days. With the water cleared out, penguins could be seen swimming in the surrounding area. Then, the crew spots the killer whales, following them further south to try and capture their behavior. Within the first hour, the orcas can be seen peeking above the surface of the water looking for potential food. In this case, seals. As soon as one of these seals was spotted, the rest of the pod was informed. Then, all of these begin working in unison, creating waves to push the seal off the ice. That day, the research team became witness to a total of 3 hunts. Scientists are still trying to better understand how killer whales are able to learn local dialects, teach one another specialized methods of hunting, and pass on behaviors that can persist for generations, longer possibly than seen with any other species except for humans. 30 Japanese giant hornets kill 30,000 honeybees. The sheer size, jaw strength, and power of the wings of the hornets proved too much for the beast to handle. The outcome was a complete slaughter. Although the bees outnumbered the hornets 1,000 to 1, each one of the Asian predators began taking out the European honeybees at a rate of 40 per minute. Normally, the wasps would carry the corpses back to the nest, but not in this case. It was a massive attack. Instead, they disposed of the bodies one by one. "30,000 honeybees are taken out within 3 hours, at which point the hornets collect the prize, the honeycombs.